I am Dr. Pamela Hinkle, and I am so excited to have you all here today because we have an amazing leader in the house. As Les Brown says, up in here, up in here. We have an amazing leader here today, and I am so honored to have her grace the stage of Purpose by Design. I hope you have your paper. And where's my pen? And your pen, because I just have a feeling she's going to be dropping some bombs of wisdom on us. I want to welcome Dr. Karen to the Purpose by Design stage. She is, drum roll please, she is an amazing leadership coach to women. Yes, I said women, helping them achieve great leadership status in the business world and beyond. She is a speaker. In fact, there's a conference coming up that she is putting together, and you're going to want to go. So she's going to give us all the information for that. And she's an international best-selling author, a book out right now, Undefeated, that she's going to tell us all about. So welcome again, Doctor. Take it away. Tell us, who are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here to spend this time with you. Well, who am I? I am an individual who's just trying to use all of her talents while she's here on this earth. Some people call me Dr. Karen Hills Pruden, the C-Suite Career Elevation Strategist. And I got that moniker because I generally work with female middle managers seeking senior leadership positions in corporate America. And generally, the women who come to me are stuck, stagnant. Sometimes they feel like they're grossly underpaid. Some of them have went through the interview process and have not landed an offer. Some have applied for a senior leadership position and not received a call back. And some have received the offer, but the offer did not match up with their worth. And so those women come to me, reach out to me, and I work with them on the various leadership competencies of leading people, leading change using technology and analytics. And we talk about what it is that boards and senior leadership look for in hiring leadership, because a lot of people think management and leadership are synonyms, and they are not. They are actually two very different roles. And so that's kind of what I do in a nutshell. And I specifically focus on women because women are only 3 to 4% of senior leaders in corporate America, which, if you do the math, it shows that between 96 and 97% of the senior leaders in corporate America are men. And so I happen to be in the C-suite, and I have been there for over a decade. And so part of my mission is to pass along what I've used and learned to acquire this position and to sustain myself in this position to other women leaders who aspire to senior leadership.
You got the secret sauce. And we are going to get the recipe from you today. Oh my goodness, that is so powerful. So before you tell us about your conference and kind of unpack more of what you do, can you share a little bit of your journey as to how you got to where you are today? Because to become an expert and acquire that secret sauce that you have to have a story. So tell us a little bit about your story getting to the place where you are right now.
Absolutely. And what you say is accurate. I think everybody has a journey. And so my journey is not one that one would guess. You know, I was at a point in my life a housewife who did not work at all. Coming out of high school, I chose matrimony over matriculating in college. So when my peers were off to college, I was experiencing that adrenaline of first love. And so I chose to get married. And once I got married, the babies came. And then probably within about 5 years, I realized, and my husband realized that, that one of us was not made for this. And so we ended up going our separate ways, but
Mhm.
co-parenting, but going our separate ways. And so I found myself 5 years after high school with children, 3, 2, and 1. And I needed to put my life back on track. And so, since I was a always the book smart individual, college was always in my future. Even though I chose love, I put myself back on the college track, and I needed some support for that. And I did have support from my in-laws and from my family, and so I went on to get my education, bachelor's, master's, all the way up to terminal degree, doctorate, and I have quite a few certifications. So I am the product of a community raising an individual in order to see them do better. Um, Once I got in corporate America, and I was there for over a decade, I realized that I had something to offer senior leadership. But when I looked around, there were no senior female leaders to mentor me.
Mhm.
And so at that time, it was about, I guess, about 15 years ago. LinkedIn was kind of new. People were kind of trying it out. And I'm always into new things. And so I was up on LinkedIn. And so I did the equivalent of a cold call on LinkedIn by direct message. So I sent a copy of my resume to a female leader who was a vice president in my industry. My industry is human resources. She was an African American woman because I wanted specifically a female and a woman of color because I thought she would be able to share some of the things that she experienced to get to where she was. And I sent her a message with my resume saying, "Would you be my mentor?" And after letting me sweat for about 2 weeks, she got back to me and said, "Absolutely," for $350 an hour. So, middle manager Karen, $350 15 years ago an hour was a lot of money. Actually, it's a lot of money now. If you were to lose $350 out of your wallet, you would feel it now.
Mhm.
But what do you do when you don't have a roadmap to get somewhere that you feel like you can add value? And so I invested $350 for 1 hour a month for 1 year with that leader. And so I signed on the contract. So she worked with me on those things that she thought would enhance what I already had. So she helped me create a love for analytics, which is one of my specialties now, and technology, which is one of my specialties now. And after working with her for a year, I received the opportunity to apply for a senior leadership position, and I got that position, and I have been in a C suite ever since then. So that pain point of not knowing anyone to mentor me got me to thinking that it was good that I was able to come across her, and it was good that I was able to kind of get together the $350 each month to pay her. But everything should not come with an invoice. And so I created a community called Sister Leaders Community, which is a free community where men and women who advocate for women in senior leadership share knowledge, experiences, and sometimes we share networks with one another. And we are a global community, and we do a lot of things to enhance one another's skills. We do a lot of collaborations and partnerships. And so that's who I am. I am a connector, a conduit, a collaborator, a visionary, and I am someone who will tell you everything I know if I think it will help you get to where you're trying to get within your career.
Wow, you are a powerhouse, Dr. Karen. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Say the name of your free community again in case people missed it or didn't quite catch it all.
Sister Leaders. with a S.
Leader.
Sister Leaders. Hence, my conference is the Sister Leaders Conference, October 28th and 29th.
Tell us about that. That sounds amazing.
Yes, so the Sister Leaders Conference is the marquee of the Sister Leaders community. It's an annual conference that we have. It is this year, we have a live component, which is the pre-conference part of it. And then the conference is virtual. So it is 100% online. This is the last year. It's 100% online for the conference portion of it, even though we have the kickoff that is live. It is a virtual conference that is global. We have international speakers who speak on the conference, men and women, who talk about technical skills. They talk about spirituality. They talk about emotional health, mental health, and physical health. Because although we are leaders and we are seeking some technical information, we know that if we don't take care of ourselves spiritually, mentally, and emotionally and physically, that we still can get sidetracked
Yeah.
as we are pursuing our goals. And so we have speakers who speak on all of those things. And they speak virtually, and it's all day and all night, October 28th and 29th. We have powerhouse keynote speakers. We have Dr. Sandra Stribling, who's one of our keynotes, who is, if you know her, she's a veteran. She's a women empowerment strategist. We also have Dr. Cheryl Wood. If you look her up, she is awesome. She is the coach for speakers. You know, she is one of my previous coaches and one of my current coaches, and she talk about your story is not for you. It's for the next person to know that they can overcome. We also have this year as a keynote speaker our male ambassador, Dr. Delatoro McNeil, who is a peak performance strategist. And we also have Dr. Will Moreland, who is another leadership coach. We have Kern Cherry, the butts in the seats queen, who we all love. And we have a number of other keynote speakers. And so I have an awesome lineup of individuals who are committed to sharing their talent, their knowledge for free, because registration for the conference is free at sisterleadersconference.com, just to ensure that we help women gain those competencies that they need in order to elevate to their next level.
Wow. So now how many years have you been doing this conference?
This is our second year.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's our second year. So last year was our inaugural year. I've been speaking for a number of years, but the conference actually started last year. We had 1,300 registrants last year, which I'm told is like awesome for a first year conference. And so I expect that and more for this year. I've been blessed that a lot of people support my platform of elevating and sharing knowledge with women leaders. And so I'm excited. Year two is definitely, year one was awesome, but year two is just going to be platinum.
Oh, I love that. It's going to be platinum. That's perfect. Perfect. What made you decide to begin hosting this kind of a conference? That's a big undertaking. And your niche here so specific. So good for you, because that can be the tough thing for people is, who am I supposed to reach? What am I supposed to do? You've got that nailed. How did you come to the place where it's like, we got to do a conference? And obviously 1,300 registrants for year one. I would say you're off and running. This is a huge success. So you're good at it. How did you come to the place where it's like, we need to do this?
I think, you know, one, I recognize the need, because again, I went through my own pain point. And then I get a lot of feedback from individuals who see me in my position and say, you know, I want to be, but I wasn't able to get an interview. I wasn't able to, it's always a I wasn't able story, you know. And of course, I don't guarantee anyone anything, but what I can tell you is I can tell you what I did. I can have all of my friends who are in the C-suite tell you what they did. And then you can kind of adopt what you think may work for you, focus on what you think. We're very relevant because we're all currently working in the C-suite, even though we also are entrepreneurs. So because it's only 3 to 4% of women who are in those senior leadership positions, someone has to share. Once you get there, you have to reach back and share what you did to get past whatever that barrier is that's preventing women from getting a senior leadership. And so I decided I would be one of those people, and I partner and network with like-minded individuals so that they can also share their information about how they got in leadership, because we got to increase those numbers. People are stuck in middle management and they don't know what to do, and no one is talking specifically about what they need to focus on.
No one is talking about it, but Dr. Karen is. And she's not just talking about it, she's giving you the answers so that you can go get the results that you want. That is beautiful and powerful. A question I'd like to ask you, is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. You stated that you have a free community, that this conference is free, but you also made a statement about Cheryl Woods as being your coach. She's amazing. So you do see the relevance of having a personal coach. Obviously, you see the importance of investing into yourself. Self-care is the best care, and that doesn't just mean a bubble bath, right? It means
Absolutely.
investing into yourself to become the best that you're supposed to be. So you have free formats to get people in the door and start giving them the information. But you also must support the whole idea of investing into yourself with an elite coach like Dr. Cheryl Woods. Can you pull back the curtain a little bit on that and talk to us about how that works within your program and system, from the free portion to the greater investment in yourself? Because you learned at a beginning point in your career, like, I need help, and took the chance, which is such an incredible story, that you would invest that $350, which is a lot of money, but it was a ton of money then. So you know the value of investing in self. And I think for women, that can be, you have the story of domestic engineer to leadership engineer. Okay. You've got this incredible story. So you know how hard it is to talk ourselves into investing financially into a coach or into a program. Why should a woman invest in herself?
Well, I can tell you why I invested in myself. One, I couldn't give myself what it is that I needed. I went to individuals who had already walked the walk,
Yeah.
who had already, they were the pilot study. So you can get to where you needed to go, where you're trying to go faster by learning what others learned before you. And so I have not only one coach, I mean, Dr. Cheryl, but I have Kern Cherry as my conference coach,
Nice.
and then I also have a sales coach as well, Shay Brown. So I believe in paying experts for their expertise. These individuals are light years ahead of me in their respective specialties, and I can learn from their bumps and bruises along the way in an accelerated way. And to me, that is worth money because we can't get time back. And so I don't need to make all the bumps and bruises that they made. I don't have the time for that. And so I pay experts to give me the Cliff Notes version of it. How do I get to it? Give me the cheat sheet. Give me that yellow and black book like Business for Dummies, Sales for Dummies, or whatever, Coaching for Dummies. Because I want to go fast. I want to go with less hiccups, and I want to go in a short period of time because I have big goals. Because my goals are hinged on me being able to help more people. And so in order for me to be able to help more women, then I have to cast my net out wider, which is what I've done each year since I've been in business. I've been in business for 7 years, going on 8 years. I made it past that 5 year mark because 50% of businesses fold after year 5. So I made it past that 5 year. I'm profitable, which is good, because a lot of businesses aren't profitable, even though they have a business. And it comes from me hitching my caboose with these experts and them giving me the cheat sheet and the knowledge so that I can use it now as opposed to 10 years down the road. Some of them, it took them 10 years to acquire the knowledge. Well, I paid them to give me the knowledge in a very quick period of time. So you accelerate quicker and faster towards your goals when you hook up with someone who's already checked that box.
That is so true. So you're saying that working with the coaches, you've named 3 of them, has helped you to work smarter instead of harder. Is that right?
Yeah, I still work hard, but I don't make as many bumps and bruises
Right.
as I would make if I didn't have them.
How would you say, or maybe you have an example, but how would you explain the acceleration that you've experienced because you have invested into these different coaches, so that you can be a greater influence to so many?
So I can give you an example. I hate sales. I'm not a salesperson. I hate sales. So if you hate something, then you got to figure out, and it's something that's necessary for you to do as part of your business model, then you got to figure out how to compensate for something that you don't like to do.
Right.
And so I got a coach who specialized in automation. My sales coach helped me I make money while I'm asleep. And how do I do that? I have about 23 books that I've authored or co-authored. I sell my books, I sell my programs off of my website. Those who are interested um, get snippets of it, and then they make a determination of whether or not they want to invest. I also have online courses that I sell online that I never thought about putting them online.
Sure.
And that came from hiring a sales coach who helped me. Well, if you don't like to sell, then you need to automate, you know. So those type of things where so I can do what I do best and what I enjoy doing, and those things that are still part of my business model that I don't necessarily like to do but are required for me to do. These coaches help me use the system and processes to get those things still done.
That is beautiful, which allows you to be able to go out there and empower women who are seeking leadership. You are able to do what you do. I love how you said that. I'm able to do what I do best and have other people that are coaching me and helping me to achieve the other things that I have to be successful. But you're not having to be split all over the place. You can focus on what you do best. That is so powerful. Thank you for taking a few minutes to kind of elaborate on that. I think that it can be difficult especially for a woman in the beginning stages, to feel that she should invest in herself, that she should spend this money on herself. I'm sure you can relate to this. I will, I'm not ashamed to say that I can go and find a great outfit at Goodwill. You know what I mean? Like, or I mean, just as easily as I can go and I can find something at Chico's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to spending that money on yourself for that and personal growth, personal development, especially in the area of business or whatever, we can get ourselves boxed into, as you had said, this mid management or whatever you want to call it mentality. And we have to break that record, so to say, that is stuck skipping there And you've given some real gold nuggets here about how to do that and why you should do that. And you are such an example, doctor, of what happens when you do. If you can look back over your life, like take that telescope and look backwards, here you are, newly married, you have kids, probably had no idea that someday you would be doing what you're doing right now. When you look back, what do you think was a pivotal moment, where things just started to go, I need to own my life and take responsibility for it and step out and be that leadership woman that I know I'm created to be. Where is a moment or moments that you just went, aha?
I think that moment happened for me. I was one that you would meet at a meeting or a conference and you'll ask me a question. And because I was passionate about what I was talking about, I would tell you everything that I knew right there. I mean, and it was someone else who told me that stop giving everything away. You're giving, do you know people pay big money for what you just said? you know, Hearing that over and over and over again wasn't my full motivation because money wasn't my full motivation, but it did let me know that I could start a business and that there was a demand for it because people always ask me questions. You're a chief human resource officer. How long have you been there? And that's just a shock and awe, which I don't think should be a shock and awe situation that a woman has been in a senior leadership position. And I know sometimes it's compounded by the fact that I'm a woman of color because there's even less women of color. I'm not blind to that as well. So not only am I in a position that very few women are in, very fewer women of color are in those positions and sustain themselves. And so I realized that this was, it's not a hobby anymore because I was so passionate for it. It's not a hobby anymore. Even before I was not making, formally formalizing my business, I realized that it's not a hobby. It was more like my mantra or my passion. But it wasn't a hobby because I taught leadership everywhere I go. And this was before I started my business. And it was others who started pulling me up on stages, inviting me to talk on panels, and different things like that. And then it's like, okay, maybe I need to formalize this. And once I formalized it and combined with the stages that I kept appearing on, because one of my coaches say visibility creates opportunity, increases profitability. Then other people start giving me the C-suite coach, the C-suite coach, the C-suite coach, the C-suite coach. And so people who desired senior leadership, who heard C-suite coach, would start coming towards me and just asking me questions. And so that's kind of how I got started. It was talking in the middle of a floor in various places on panels. Anyone who invited me, I would go. And then I realized it was more than a hobby, that this was my passion, something that I could do in addition to what I did in corporate America. I didn't have to pick and choose. I had Dr. Stroll was my coach, and she said, you don't have to leave corporate America, because I thought you had to be an entrepreneur or you worked in corporate America. She said, you love corporate America. She said, I didn't, but you love corporate America. You can do both.
Yes.
And so I still do both.
I love that. And that is something that I've actually said to so many. You can do both. You can do both. You can have your 9 to 5 and your 5 to 9.
Yes.
You can do both and be successful until the time comes that you don't want to do both, right?
Absolutely.
And then you make your choice. Your story, literally, it's like the corporate Cinderella. You went from over here to now, look at you, inspiring and leading so many. And you had all of these epiphany little moments that kind of just culminated to you saying, hey, this is, I love that I wrote it down. This is not a hobby. This is my calling. This is my passion. It's what I'm here to do. And now you have this conference coming up, the second annual. You are a leadership coach to women globally, and you're an author. So share with us a little bit of your author's journey while we have some time still remaining, because Undefeated is out.
Yes, absolutely. So Undefeated is under visionary Kern Cherry, which I love her. And I've been in multiple publications with Kern. I've been in the Trailblazers Who Lead and a couple other publications with Kern. I'm also the author of several books where I have been the visionary as well. And all of mine talk about women overcoming in the workplace. I have Complicated Alliances, which is about women who are married to men in the military and the impact on their careers, as well as it's a combination of women in the military and how being in the military has impacted their ability to rise up to various levels. I also have a book called Undeterred, Women Who Demanded the Seat at the Table. And this is about women who, found a way to work around barriers that happened throughout their career and was able to get a seat at the table that they felt that they should be at the table. And then I have Sister Leaders, which is women who purposely collaborate with other female leaders, because that's what I stand for. That's the anthology for last year's conference. And this year's conference anthology is Yes, You, Yes Now, testimonies of women who win in business, love, or life. Because I wanted to touch women who are winning in something so that we could celebrate. And I figure if I said business, love, or life, then every woman who desired to be in the anthology would be able to write on something in regards to this conference anthology. And so I have always written. I started out with poems as a child, so writing has always been in my DNA, kind of. And I enjoy because we kind of overlook a lot of our experiences when we're going through life and just living. A lot of times we don't even think about the things that we've overcome or we experienced. And so as I am thinking about subjects to write in various books, I just reflect on some things that I've overcome or maybe even forgot about momentarily in my life. And I pull those things out and think about any barriers that maybe I had to overcome, and what support did I get to overcome, whether it was in terms of people supporting me or whether it's financial or loans or whatever it was, sponsors or whatever it is, and then the importance of overcoming in all of my publications, because I think sometimes we look at a problem and a problem is so vast that we think that we can't. And then 5 years from now, we did, you know, and we do that repeatedly in life. And so just being able to document and writing for other women to read on how other women, as well as myself, we did overcome and we continue to overcome. And it's not always by ourselves. Sometimes it's us bonding together, helping one another, doing a SWOT analysis, in our life, figuring out what our strengths are, our weaknesses are, our opportunities and our threats are, and bonding together to where we complement one another. So together we are someone's worst nightmare. you know, So that's why I love, collaborating and, getting with other women. You don't have to know everything. Get with someone else who knows, who's willing to share. And it is a lot of people who will share. Not everyone sends you a $350 invoice. We have plenty of people in the Sister Leaders community who you can just pick up the phone. Once you build a relationship with them, you can just pick up the phone and they'll tell you, they'll send you the template and email, and do all those things once you build a relationship. This year's currency is relationships, not money. It's relationships. If you build relationships with the right people, the money will come.
Mm. Say that again.
If you build relationships with the right people, the money will come.
Yes. And this year's currency is what, doctor?
Relationships.
Relationships. Powerful stuff right there. And so true. You know, my grandmother used to always tell me, Pamela, it's not what you know, it's
Who you know.
who you know. She was right. That is so true. And you have endeavored through the conferences and through the sisterhood that you have created in the community that you've created to a place, a safe haven, a harbor
Mm-hmm.
for relationships to be built and grown. Something that you said, though, that I want to circle back to is developing relationships. You want to talk about that for a minute? Because that's a big deal. If relationships are the currency, then developing them would be a very important part of making currency.
Absolutely. And I tell people, when you meet someone initially, don't ask for anything. Be a servant. I'm a servant leader. And so a lot of times I just want to be in someone's presence. I like their spirit.
Yeah.
I like what they stand for. I like who they serve. Sometimes we serve the same people.
Mhm.
But you have to be willing to serve to be a good person in a relationship, because it is not equally give and take and all that old shenanigans you see and hear on television. It's not any of that. It is trust. It is reliability. It is vulnerability. Being able to say, I'm scared, I don't have, with someone that that it's going to stay right there with that individual. And I'm talking about business people.
Yeah.
You have to have that type of trust with people that you do business with. When you trust your brand with someone, every time you partner with another business, you are merging your brand with their brand. And if
Mm.
you don't trust them, know, like, and trust is what Dr. Sherrill would say. You have to feel like you know them. Then you determine whether or not you like them. And then after you like them, you determine whether or not you trust them. But you have to have that know, like, and trust factor in relationships. And it goes both ways. Before you establish that, it's a lot of servant leadership that goes into play with that. It's a lot of hours that is put into play with that. Situations that are like trial by fire
Yeah.
type, and you see who's standing. Maybe you have money today, but no money tomorrow, and see who's standing. Maybe you have access today, but no access tomorrow. See who's standing.
Mhm.
Those type of relationships that have been tried and tested, even in business, are the type of relationships that I'm talking about. Those are the type of relationships where sometimes you don't even have to ask or say anything, because they're already reaching out to you doing a temperature check, because they know your movement in the marketplace if they haven't seen you in a while or heard from you in a while. And I'm not talking about social media shenanigans. I'm talking about real relationships are outside of social media.
That's so true. The statement that came up in my heart when you said that was, know who you're in the trenches with.
Yes.
Yeah, because who you're with, are they going to go to battle right there with you? Are they going to protect you? Are they as well as you protect them? That's so huge, isn't it? Relationships are built. They don't just happen.
Yep.
And I love that. Know, like, and trust. Relationships, you said, define them as trust. And trust is something that is earned,
Yep.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
Powerful, powerful stuff. So in your leadership training, this must be something that you instruct the ladies on. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about professional equity and the elements of professional equity. So there are three parts of professional equity. One is your relationships, which I talked about, and your relationships, like when you're in corporate America, is your relationships are up the chain, down the chain, and sometimes you have to build relationships after five. And so
Mm-hmm.
I talk about, getting to know people beyond the surface relationships. If you're
Mm-hmm.
working beside someone every day of the week and you don't know whether or not they're married, whether they have kids, whether they go to school at night, whether they have a second job, then you don't know who you're working with. So you need relationships beyond the surface relationships. So relationships is one part of professional equity, but reputation is another part of professional equity. And reputation is not your title. It is, do you say what it is that do you do what it is that you're supposed to do? And do you tell people what they should know and not just what they want to know? What
Mm-hmm.
results do you generate in the marketplace? What are people saying about you when you're not in the room? And then the third leg of professional equity is expertise. It is good to be a generalist, but the world is saved by specialists. When things happen, you need to be a specialist at something because the specialist is the person who saves the day. The generalist understands how it all works together. But if your company is in financial trouble and your specialty is finance, you are the knight or the woman in shining armor. If
Yes.
you have a technology problem and technology is your specialist, people are coming for you. You don't have to be sought after, they're just coming for you. So, specialists are the people who save the day, and people need to know what your specialty is. So, it goes back to your reputation. What are the results that you generate in the marketplace that people are talking about what it is that you do? Because that will cause others to call on you when they need your specialty. So professional equity is relationships, reputation, and area expertise. And I teach my female clients, what is your equity in the marketplace and can it sustain you during hard times? If you have no equity, equity is something that you tap into for when you need it. For those who acquire things that appreciate and value, such as homes and different things like that, you tap into your equity when you need it. So,
Yeah.
what is your professional equity in the marketplace when the market is bad and they're doing a reduction in force, when they
Mm-hmm.
need to lay off some people? You know, do you have enough equity, professional equity in the marketplace that it will sustain you through the hard times?
What is your equity? Like that's a mic dropping moment right there. Boom. This mic would be too loud if I did that. Wow, wow, wow. What is your equity? Relationships, reputation. I loved how you pointed that to results and expertise. You're so right. In the medical world right now, everybody is an expert on something,
Yeah,
like that general practitioner, they're still there, but even that is getting thinned out.
yeah,
You're always being sent to the expert. You're so right. And finding that's like finding your niche or finding your brand
yeah.
is really what it is. This is such incredible knowledge that you are dropping here today. I'm just so grateful to have you here, Doctor. I know that we're starting to wrap up in our time, but this has been such a joy, and you have filled my tank with so much goodness. Is there anything else that you really want to make sure that you get to share with the people? And then also, tell us how to find you. How do we register for this conference and join your community and all that fun stuff?
Absolutely. So the conference registration, which is free registration, is Sister Leaders with a S conference.com. So sisterleadersconference.com is the free registration. And you'll see everything on that website, all the keynotes and all the other things that I have a Sister Leaders magazine, a lot of stuff, because I also have a television channel and different things like that. Leadership is Served is the name of my TV show, but my channel is Boss Brand and Business. So all of my things are just different methodologies in order to reach women where they are to talk about leadership. So I use all different types of modalities to do that. But sisterleadersconference.com is where I want everyone to focus at. That's my baby. I am so excited about this year's conference and all the men and women who are committed to sharing their area expertise. In terms of looking for me, I hang out on LinkedIn. I under my name, Dr. Karen Hills Pruden. I also am on Instagram under my name, Dr. Karen Hills Pruden. But you can find my free community on Facebook under Sister Leaders Community.
Hey, thank you. And all of that, y'all, is in the description. So you didn't have to try to scribble it down really fast. You can just read the description there. You are a light in the world. You really are. And I want to thank you for your servant leadership because it's needed. It is needed now more than maybe ever because it's our time. Well, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, it's always been our time. But it is our time right now. And we need leaders like you plowing in front of us and out there saying, the Apostle Paul said, follow me as I follow after Christ. That didn't mean that he was perfect, but he had done a few things. He had seen some stuff. He had acquired some knowledge. He was a servant leader to the maximum, right? And so that's how I see you, as saying, follow me as I follow after what I've been doing. And what you are, the path you are lighting is going to change the world for women, but it's going to change the world because women are going to be where they should be. And they're going to do a really good job at what they do because they are going to know their equity. Dr. Karen, thank you for pouring into us today. You are a blessing in the earth. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy.
It has been a joy. And will you come back again?
Absolutely.
You know what would be fun is after your conference, we'll have to have you circle back and tell us how it went.
Yes.
And what you have next, like that anthology. I'm like, she's got an anthology connected with her conference. Come on, this is amazing. Yes. You were just do you remember the Ever Ready Bunny?
Yes, absolutely.
You just keep going. Remember, the Ever Ready Bunny just didn't quit, just kept going and going. And that's you in the work world, the corporate world. God bless you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you all for showing up again. I know that, you filled up your notebook because mine's really full. I've been taking all kinds of notes. Go join that community. And for goodness sakes, it's a free conference full of incredible knowledge. You need to start focusing on you. What is your equity? What a great question to close out with. What is it? What results? Are you getting the results you want? Do you have the relationships? Are you cultivating them the way that they should be? And the final one was, what is your niche? What is your expertise? Any of these questions that you're scratching your head on at all? Dr. Karen is here for you. And all you need to do is reach out to her. And it's free. As she said, not everything comes with an invoice. So you can help her spread this word. You can help me spread purpose by design by doing something really easy. And it's not going to hurt, and it's free. Click subscribe. Boom, right there. Click subscribe. And then click share. Take this message and send it to your girlfriend. Send it to your mom. Send it to somebody at work. We're talking about developing those relationships, right? Send it, send it, send it. Email it, messenger, wherever you want to send it. But let's not keep this under wraps. 1,300 registrants at the first annual conference. Let's help her to get to like 5,000. Send this to somebody and then go and register yourself. Remember, you are here on purpose with a purpose by design. not by default. So go out there and be the salt and the light everywhere you go.
Ascend Above the Crowd is the newest course by Pamela Hinkle. Ascend is a self-paced email course that will come directly to your inbox and will change your mindset and your life. Each week, you will receive lessons, resources, challenges, and journal writings that will help you discover your purpose by design. It's your time to ascend above the crowd. To learn more about Ascend, go to www.purposewithpamela.com/ascend.
Pamela Hinkle is a mindset mentor, author, speaker, minister, and transformation coach. Her weekly podcast, international radio show, and television show are a lifeline that changes lives and inspires people to discover their individual potential through realizing their purpose by design. Pamela is a natural motivator and has shown many how to find their niche and transform their lives. Although success is an uphill battle, Pamela gives the necessary strategies to flourish, cheering you on every step of the way. Pamela shares from her personal experiences, education, and life as a woman in leadership, utilizing decades of knowledge. Taking the approach of, let's have coffee and chat, she will awaken your dreams and purpose by design. Are you ready for Pamela to help guide you? Email us at purposewpamela.office@gmail.com or go to her website at purposewithpamela.com.